Hello everyone, this is Will Brooks and my mission is to make coding fun and easy to learn. In this video, we're going to learn how to make a header using HTML and CSS. That includes a logo, a navigation bar, and a contact button right here. We're going to learn how to create hover effects. As you see here, turns red, and then this one inverts it right here. And also, we're going to use display flex to center and align everything in the header. So let's jump right in. I am using Replit as my text editor, and with Replit, the head comes already filled in, as we can see from here, from line 1 to 8. And the CSS external style sheet is already linked in as well with this coding here, and it links to here. And we are also going to use the index.html page, which we're on right now. We are not going to use the JavaScript page. So let's get started. The first thing I want to change is the title here, and that's the only thing we're actually going to change in, or actually do in the head. And we're going to just call this, we'll call it header project. And that's all we're going to do there. Now we're just going to work in the body. So the first thing we need to do is add the header, as I mentioned before. So let's close that. And then after the header, we had the lion's head, which was the logo. So we need to add an image. I'm actually going to add an image there. And so with source, that's going to link it to the image. And then inside the quotation mark is going to be the JPEG or whatever image we're going to use. But for now, I am going to put a placeholder in there because I don't have the image yet in a file. And so then one other thing we're going to do here is ALT. Alternate means if somebody cannot see the screen or if the image for some reason doesn't show up, we want an alternate text. And we're going to put just image of logo right here. And let's close that up right there. Fantastic. Next, we're going to create the navigation section. Let's take a look at our finished product. So we have the logo just finished, and we have 3 links up here: home, about, and products. So let's create that. And we're gonna, first, I just want to open this up a little bit. It might be easier for you to see if it's open like that. And let's create a nav tag. Okay, NAV. And then you can see how Replit just, does the closing tag here automatically. It makes it just easier. And I'm going to just hit return. Inside the nav tag, we are going to create an unordered list, just like that. Perfect. Now we are going to create 3 lists because we have 3 links that we need to create. So let's do li for list. And then inside that list, we're going to create an A tag because we want that's going to create the links. I'll show you what that does. So inside the quotation marks, normally you would have the link there, but I'm just going to put a placeholder because we're actually not going to put a link in this video here. And then the first tab was home, and then let's just close this. Okay, and so we have our first link there and our first tab called home. And I'm going to do the next 2, and I'll be right back. So as you see, I created the other 2. So we have home, about, and products. So if you look here, if I just highlight this here, the A tag is the link there. That's the link inside the quotation. That's where it's going to link to. And then on the outside, that A tag is in the middle of the link tag there. And that's just basically how you do it. And that's going to look like this if we run that. So right here. So basically we have the image of the logo. That's what it's going to look like if there's no logo to grab from outside. And then we have the home, about, products. A far cry from what we want to get to, but we're getting there. So the next thing we want to do is create the button. There are a couple of different ways we could create that button. But first let's get out of this nav section here. And the first way is let's create an A tag. And I'll show you that first. And then let's just put a reference holder in here. Close that. And then let's do the closing here. Perfect. So, and then inside here, we want to put contact. So let's go take a look at that. Let's refresh our browser. And see up here, it says contact here. So all you have to do is style it like a button using CSS. For instance, you can add a border, a background color, and a hover effect as well. Now, the other way we can do it is by adding a button tag inside the A tag. So let's put our button tag inside the A tag. But first, I am going to delete contact. Okay, let's do that. Okay, let's put the button tag in. Let's close that. Okay, and then there, let's put contact. So that's what we did. We put the button tag inside the A tag. And let's see what that looks like. Let's refresh this. And as you can see, we have right here, we have a button tag. It's kind of small. I hope you can see that, but perfect. So that's what the button tag looks like inside the A tag. Well, that is all the HTML we need. So the next thing we need to do is style this. And we're going to do that in the same order. So let's just take a look at before. Okay, this is the logo, the navigation section, and the contact button. And this is after. So we're going to style it in the same way. We're going to style the header first, the logo next, the navigation section next, and last but not least, we'll style the button. Okay, let's go to our style sheet. This is going to be exciting. The first thing we need to do is reset our default settings, and because they always come with some pixels to padding and margin. But so let's hit the universal selector, which is the star, curly bracket, return that, and we'll start with padding. And then we need colon, and let's put that 0 so that resets it to 0. I do want to add a font family here too as well. I want to change the font in this document, and we're going to change it to Arial. And let's return. And then I do want to change the box sizing. I'll make the box sizing here, and we're going to do border box. And if you're not quite sure what border box is, don't worry about it. I do have another video on that, but you don't really need to know that for this video. Now we need to style the header. So let's get into the header, and we type header there, curly bracket, and return. We didn't create a class, so we don't need a dot header, so we're just going to put header there. And let's do a background color. And in this video, we have the background color as black in this website here. And so let's just say black. You can say black, or you can say hashtag 000. Either way is fine. We'll just say black for now. And let's take a look, see what it looks like. Oh, you know what? Let's add the height in there first. So let's put some height in there. So height is going to be 100 pixels. And then let's go take a look. Okay, refresh the browser. Great. So there we got the header here in black, and it's 100 pixels from the top. So let's go back in and let's continue to style our header. Next, we're going to do display flex. I mentioned at the beginning we're going to be using that. Display flex is awesome because when we run it, it's going to take everything here and move it across the top. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, you see that? It moves everything across the top. It's kind of hard to see because we don't have the colored on the fonts yet. So let's make that gray for now so you can kind of see what it looks like it's doing. And I'll change that back to black afterwards. So let's go back in here, make that gray. There you go. So you can see what's happening there. So we got the image of the logo is there. We got the navigation section, and we have our button. Obviously, the button needs to go over here, so we need to fix that. So now we have display flex. Now, in order to get the spacing, we need to do justify content. And this is really neat. And then we have to say space between. Sounds like a John Mayer song, space between. Okay, now let's go back up here and let's see what it does. Ready? Let's hit this. Fantastic. So it's moving everything over like this. Got it? So now this is not quite in the center. So what we need to do, we need to go back in and we need to do one more thing in our header. We need to align items. And then let's do a colon there, and we're going to hit center, you guessed it, and semicolon. So let's see what that looks like. Perfect. Now we have the far left, middle, and the far right. Next, we need to grab our image. Remember that lion head? And I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to call that folder images. Okay, and then I am going to go ahead and put that image into the image folder, and I will have in the description below. I will have a link to that. So it's I found that on Unsplash, and Unsplash is fantastic. It has so many free images that you can use, and they just have lots of great free images there. So anyway, I'll have the link to that in the description below. Okay, I added the logo from Unsplash, and I'll click on it here, the lion head. And then I changed the name to logo.png. Well, logo dot and then png was there. And so now what we need to do in order to get the logo onto our header, we need to put it into the index.html. Remember, I had the hashtag as a placeholder here. Like if there's the header and there's the image. So the image is right here. And we need to change the hashtag out here. Now I have it in a folder, so if it's in the folder, I have to relate it to that folder. So I have to type images first, otherwise it's not going to find it. So it's images, and then you need the /, and then I can put the logo.png. It's got to be the exact name. If not, you're going to have an alternative text show up called image of logo, which you don't want. You want the picture. So logo.png, and then it's in the folder. So images / logo.png. So let's go take a look at this. And you're going to see it is huge. Look how big that is. Okay, so now that's what we use CSS for. Let's go back into CSS and let's style this. Now, first, let's add a class to this. So, because if you had, we're only creating one image, but if you had more images and we just use img and then style that, all the other images are going to be styled the same way. So let's just add a class, and we'll call this class, let's just call it logo. Let's call it logo, and let's close that and space. Okay, so we call this class logo. So we are gonna style the logo in CSS using the .logo, and I'll show you that in 1 second. Okay, back in CSS, instead of doing img and curly bracket, we made a class. So when you make a class, you have to do a period and then whatever name you called it. So I called it logo. And then you do the curly bracket and then return. So let's first give this a height, so it's not out of control like it is right now. And let's just say 75 pixels. And then let's do, you have to do the semicolon. And then let's say, well, let's just take a look at it right now. Height at 75 pixels. And let's hit refresh. Oh, look at that. It looks so much better. Remember, the header is 100 pixels here, so this is 75, so it fits in there perfectly. Now we want to move it away from the left side, so we have to give it a margin. So let's go back and give it a margin. And I'm going to give it a margin of 50 pixels. And then hit semicolon there. Let's go take another look, and let's see it move out from the left. And there you go. Perfect. We'll keep it right there. So now remember, I'm gonna change this to black soon, but not yet until we get these changed to white. Okay, so now our logo looks pretty good. Next is our navigation section. In our navigation section, we want to first get rid of the bullet points, and then we want to move this from up and down to left to right, and then get rid of the underline there. So let's style this right now. Let's work on the bullet points first. So let's go back in here. And then let's give the unordered list a class. We're doing that because if we have other unordered lists, which we don't right now, but if we do, then we don't want them all to change. So we're going to call this class. And then let's do a quote. And we're going to just call this nav. We'll call this nav. There. So now we're going to style this nav here. And let's go back to style.css. And come here. And then we'll do dot because we called it a class, nav, curly brackets. And then the first thing we want to do is get rid of those bullet points. So it's list style and semicolon, and it's going to be none. And then we need a colon, and then we need a semicolon at the end. So let's go take a look and see if they come off. And they did come off. Perfect. So next we want to get these going across like this, left to right, not up and down. And so in that case, we need to style the list. And then, so in order to do that, we're going to go dot again, NAV, but then we're going to go to the next layer is the LI, the list. And then we're going to hit curly brackets, and we're going to do display. And it's called in display. And then colon, and it's called inline block. And then let's do a semicolon there. So let's take a look. Display inline block, which will bring that all across from left to right. There we go. Okay, so now we're getting there. Now what we need to do, we need to space these. There's not enough space in between there, so we're gonna have to add some padding in there. So let's do that here, and let's do padding. Okay, and we're gonna do 0 pixels from the top and bottom, and then 20 pixels from left and right. And let's see what that looks like. There, much better. Okay, that looks so much better. Okay, so now what we want to do, we want to style the anchor tag, and we want to style this right here next. This right here, inside here, right in there. In order to do that, we're going to do .navli and then go to A. Okay, that's the A tag, and then curly brackets, return. And first, let's get rid of the underline there. Text decoration, we call it none. Colon, and text decoration none, semicolon. Let's go take a look. So text decoration none, hit that. Boom, the underline is gone. Okay, next let's do, well, you know what? If we look here, those are all uppercase capital letters, and these are lowercase letters. So we can change that with one CSS maneuver, and it is called the text transform. Text transform, colon, and we're going to just call it uppercase. You can do lowercase if you want to. We want to do uppercase. Let's take a look. Survey says nice. Okay, uppercase, getting there. Okay. Now, next we want to do, let's see, you know what, that font did not change to Arial, did it? I don't think so. It doesn't look like Arial. It does not look like Arial. What's going on there? I didn't spell Arial correctly. I thought something was missing there. Okay, now let's go take a back look and let's find our Arial. Let's see, hit return. Better, kind of like block letters. Looks so much better. Okay, phew. I thought, am I going crazy here? Okay, and the next thing we want to do is we did the text transformation and text transform. We want to create a hover effect, like on here. See how that hovers like that? Boom. And it kind of eases. It doesn't change right away, just kind of eases into it. So we want to do that next. And in order to do that, we have to set it up in this section first. So we're going to do transition. Transition. There we go. Transition, and then all, meaning everything's going to transition. And it's going to take 0.3 seconds. And it's going to ease into it. And then 0 seconds at the end. That means 0 seconds for delay. That's the delay at the end. We don't want it delayed. So let's go see. It's not really going to change anything yet because we haven't done anything with the hover effect. But let's go back in here. And then the next thing we want to do is color. So let's do color. And we're going to change this to white, like I said. So in this case, we're going to use just a different way. We're going to do the hashtag, and it's FFFFFF. So 6 Fs would be white. Now, if it's the same, if it's one, like 6 Fs, the shortcut is 3 Fs, and then all you do need is a semicolon. So let's go take a look at the color there now. That should change it. And it has changed. You know what? Let's go back here, and let's change this to black now because we can see the font color. It's going to pop a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. Ooh, the line that pops quite a bit there. Nice. Okay, so now let's go back in here. And the next thing we want to do is we want to create that hover effect, like when we go like this and like this and like this. So we're going to create the hover effect in CSS. In order to do that, we're going to do .navli and then go to A. Okay. That's the A tag, and then curly brackets, return. And first, let's get rid of the underline there. Text decoration, we call it none. Colon, and text decoration none, semicolon. Let's go take a look. So text decoration none, hit that. Boom, the underline is gone. Okay, next let's do, well, you know what? if we look here, those are all uppercase capital letters, and these are lowercase letters. So we can change that with one CSS maneuver, and it is called the text transform. Text transform, colon, and we're going to just call it uppercase. You can do lowercase if you want to. We want to do uppercase. Let's take a look. Survey says, nice. Okay, uppercase, getting there. Okay. Now, next we want to do, let's see, you know what, that font did not change to Arial, did it? I don't think so. It doesn't look like Arial. It does not look like Arial. What's going on there? I didn't spell Arial correctly. I thought something was missing there. Okay, now let's go take a back look and let's find our Arial. Let's see. Hit return. Better. Kind of like block letters. Looks so much better. Okay. Phew. I thought, am I going crazy here? Okay, and the next thing we want to do is we did the text transformation and text transform. We want to create a hover effect like on here. See how that hovers like that? Boom. And it kind of eases. It doesn't change right away. Just kind of eases into it. So we want to do that next. And in order to do that, we have to set it up in this section first. So we're going to do transition. Transition. There we go. Transition. And then all, meaning everything's going to transition. And it's going to take 0.3 seconds. And it's going to ease into it. And then 0 seconds at the end. That means 0 seconds for delay. That's the delay at the end. We don't want it delayed. So let's go see. It's not really going to change anything yet because we haven't done anything with the hover effect. But let's go back in here. And then the next thing we want to do is color. So let's do color. And we're going to change this to white, like I said. So in this case, we're going to use just a different way. We're going to do the hashtag, and it's FFFFFF. So 6 Fs would be white. Now, if it's the same, if it's one, like 6 Fs, the shortcut is 3 Fs, and then all you do need is a semicolon. So let's go take a look at the color there now. That should change it. And it has changed. You know what? Let's go back here, and let's change this to black now because we can see the font color. It's going to pop a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. Ooh, the line that pops quite a bit there. Nice. Okay, so now let's go back in here. And the next thing we want to do is we want to create that hover effect, like when we go like this and like this and like this. So we're going to create the hover effect in CSS. In order to do that, we need to hit dot and a V, type that in, list, just like above, A. But in this case, we're going to do colon and then hover. And then we need the curly bracket, and then we're just going to put color, colon, and then I am going to type in red, not the hashtag this time. And then I noticed that I missed right here under transition. Oh, I actually added the S. So I added the S here. That means it's going to take 0.3 seconds to make that transition right there. So let's go take a look. Let's check out our hover effect. Let's refresh this. And here we go. Oh, perfect. You see how that turns red right there when you go on it? Nice. When you hover over the top. Perfect. Okay, the last thing, I know this video is getting long. The last thing we want to do is we want to style the button. Okay, let's type in our button so we can style that. The last thing we need to do, one of the last things, we're going to do the hover effect as well. We're going to start with a background color, and we're going to do something a little bit different with the background color. We're going to give it an RGBA, and I'm going to explain what that is in a second. 255, 0, and 1. Okay, so what that does is, let me just do a semicolon. R stands for red, G is green, B is blue, and A is alpha. And it goes from 0 to 255. So if the first holder is 255, that means it's red. If the second one is fully 255, that means it's green. If it's a 0 for the blue, that means there's no blue in it at all. And the last one stands for if it's fully opaque or fully transparent. If it's number 1, it's fully opaque. If it's 0, it's transparent. I want that in there because when we do the transition on the hover effect, I want it to not only change color, but I want it to become a little bit transparent. Now, if I change all these values to 0, 0, and 0, that would render it black. Okay, and if I did all 255, 255, 255, it would all change to white. So let's move on. Now that we have the background yellow, I want to change the letters to red. I'm just going to do red like this, return. And then let's change the font size. I want that to be bigger. And we're going to change the font size to 16 pixels like this. And then we're going to add a margin just like we did on the logo. And we're going to put a margin of 50 pixels again to pull it off the side there on the left side. And then let's take off the border. I don't want a border on mine, and we're going to just say none to take that off. Okay, and let's go take a look and see what this looks like. So let's go in here, and let's hit return. There, okay, it's getting bigger. It's not quite what we want yet. Let's see. We need to add a padding there. Okay, let's add padding, and let's go padding 9 pixels top and bottom, and 25 pixels left and right. You always want the left and right, the width to be longer so it looks like a button. So let's look at that again. There, that's better. So now I want to round off the corners here to make it more look like a button. And so let's we've got the border we've taken off. Let's add a border radius. That'll do that. Border radius. And then colon here. And let's put a 50 pixels on the border radius. Depending on how many pixels or how less pixels, it'll be less rounded or more rounded. So let's go take a look at that right now. It's getting there. It's looking pretty good. Oh, there we go. Now that looks like our button. Very nice. Okay, we're going to create that hover effect. When you hover over it, the background is going to turn red and the letters are going to turn yellow. So let's go back in here. And we need to add that transition, because you always add the transition in this area. Not on the hover, but before the hover, before you get to the button colon hover. So let's add the transition. It's going to be again all, and then we're going to do 0.3 seconds for it to happen, and it's going to ease into it. And we don't want any delay, so we'll do 0 seconds for that. And great, so we have that, and the only thing left we have to do is the button hover. Okay, let's type in button colon hover. Now remember what we wanted to change it to. And let's do the curly bracket. So let's just take a quick look here in our finished one. And remember here, if we go over here, it's going to change. The background's going to change to red, and the contact is going to change to yellow, and it's going to be a little bit transparent. So see that right there? Background changes to red and a little bit transparent. That's what we want to do. And that's pretty easy. So first we need background color again. Background color. And then we're going to do the RGBA, and do you think you can figure that out? So we need to change it to red background. So the first one is red, right? Red, green, blue, alpha. And so we need 255 there. It's going to be 0 because we don't want any green this time. We don't want any blue. And then for the transparency, we want it to be, I'm going to say 0.7 right there. We're going to go with that. And then we want to change the contact, the letters from red to yellow. So color. And then instead of putting all that in, I'm just going to type in yellow here. Yellow. And then we should have that effect. Let's go take a look. Let's refresh the browser. And let's take a look. Oh, let's hover. Look at that. The background turned red and the letters turned yellow. And there was a little transparency there too. See that? It's exactly what we wanted. Now let's take a look over here. Oh, at our navigation site. Perfect. It hovers over, it turns red. Well, thank you so much for watching. That brings us to the end of the video. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And we will see you in the next video.